not the Adele version, right?
Is
it me you're looking for?
I have a friend who, Lionel, and when he calls on the phone, he says, hello. Like that's his ring.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, let's rock and roll. Hello.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jourdan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Boom!
That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that. Boom!
Boom!
You ever just laugh at yourself?
All the time.
I got a new thing. I don't know. This is something new. You know how I do the mirror thing in the morning? Like, to start, I leave my and then I give myself a high five and all that stuff.
Sure.
Here's something I heard someone, it must have been a YouTube thing, and they said, hey, try this for a day. See what happens if you just do this. And they say, look in the mirror in the morning when you do and say, I love you to yourself 10 times. Yeah. And this is weird because a lot of times it's just like perfunctory, and you just say, you're talking to your wife and you say, hello, I love you, bye, whatever. You're not really saying it. But how many times, do you really, kind of dig yourself? But anyway, so I did it.
Uh-oh.
And it's crazy. You thought I was conceited before.
Oh.
I mean, it's like,
I just love how you just weaved in the word perfunctory. I feel like the whole concept for today's show is for you. Somehow I have to work in the word perfunctory. Congratulations.
You can tell I'm a very, I'm a learned person.
Yeah,
I hide it behind this clownish exterior. I have what I did was I was chopping vegetables and I cut my finger but the finger healed, but the nail, and so it gets caught on everything. That's what it is. The smallest thing in the world, it affects wars can be stopped if someone had like a pebble in your shoe and you couldn't walk. Hold on a minute. I got this pebble in the shoe. Right. And that's what it is. That's what it is in sales. We put such emphasis on the small stuff and then not on the big stuff. I'm in a big.
I can't believe you did that. I mean, chopping is so perfunctory too. I mean, how could you have done that to yourself?
I don't even know where that word came from.
I don't know either, but I'm using it.
Throw it out for no reason whatsoever.
Hashtag perfunctory is trending. Yes.
Yeah, vestibule. No one ever uses the word vestibule. Vestibule is not a word often
used.
Makes
me feel weird. Like I don't
in the English vernacular. Actually, vernacular
I could look it up.
Not a word.
I could look up vestibule, but I just don't want to because the word makes me feel weird.
I think it's just like your front porch. It's that little area. It's that little area when they just walk into your house. And that's the whole thing. There are areas of your house that you kind of rarely go to. It's just a place there, and it's just you don't know what it is. But unless you make if you intentionally create a space that is going to be like. What if your whole house was like that family space that everybody can enjoy, like the kitchen and all that stuff. And I was thinking about that. And then out of the blue, as if, the Lord himself came down and said, you know what you need to do? You need to have a guest on your phone, on your show here, who has figured out a way to turn spaces that you don't even want to look at into the most important part of your house. And I said, you know what? why don't we get that person on the show? And here we go. I've just with bated breath, I'm waiting to figure out how to do this to my home with my new best friend, Bart Schwartz.
All right.
It's
Man.
not often you can say, may the Schwartz be with you, and it be appropriate.
Well, I'm here with you today, Dan, and looking forward to talking.
Awesome.
What's going on? So Bart, listen, we've been trying to put this together for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the same. You know what I could have done in 3 months? I could have put in a pool.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody wants a pool now, right,
Yeah.
Bart? I mean, it's like that was the thing over the pandemic. Everybody wanted a pool, and it backed up everything because nobody had the parts to do it. But now everybody's actually getting the pools, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Absolutely. A lot of that pent up inventory is already pushed through. And, we are business is booming. We're still running and gunning, having fun.
Running and gunning.
Can you put in pools in the wintertime?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a few things that we can't do. There's, a few construction things that we can't do. Weather gets too cold. We lose some days due to weather with the rain like today. But all in all, we work year round.
Chris Stone, I met Bart, and I asked him what he did. And, you would think a typical person will just say, oh, we put in pools. We install pools. But Bart, how do you explain it if someone says, hey, I'm thinking about doing it, getting a pool? What do you say?
Well, we're different than most other pool companies in the industry, and really something that's a major point of pride for us. We work in the luxury market, and we're a true design and build swimming pool company and outdoor living firm. So it's not just dropping a template and trying to sell you a swimming pool. It's working much like a custom builder would to make backyard dreams come true.
Make backyard dreams come true. That's it. That's like, if you're just a pool company, immediately people will start thinking about like above ground, or whatever. But look at this stuff, the pools, the spas, the landscaping. So you're just like an all-in-one, one-stop shop for a dream backyard. You're not just a pool company. I love it.
Absolutely. And we master plan, making sure that everything that the client wants, everything that fits their lifestyle is going to be appropriate for their home. And, appropriate for their family. Everything we do is custom. So we spend a lot of time, in that discovery phase, working with our clients, asking the real deep questions. Who's going to use the pool? How do you use the pool? How do you entertain? What's your vision for your project and for your home? And through that process, and then using our iterative process, our robust design process, where our designers and architects work directly with the clients, we're able to go from conceptual to design direction to design refinement, so that everything that they see is what they're going to realize in their backyard.
Yeah, so that's like the opposite of perfunctory. Look at that. Yeah, so very intentionally getting out. Well, so how the heck did you get into this? I mean, you seem like a finance guy.
Interesting, right? I actually spent over 30 years in the financial services business. Started actually when I was in college with Northwestern Mutual in their college agent program, and in New Jersey and here in Atlanta, spent over 30 years insurance and investment planning, as well as some other things. And about 3 years ago, a good friend of mine, Chris Carter, who I'd played rugby with for a number of years and served on some boards with, had started Cosmic and came to me and said, we should really talk about scaling and growing this business. And originally, like a lot of these things, it was kind of cocktail conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Very flattering. I love that. But, we continued to have these conversations, and Chris is a really, really smart guy with a tremendous amount of vision. And we talked about scalability, and we talked about process, and really about telling the story. And he just needed somebody that likes to go out and talk to folks. And there's a picture of our owners. That's Chris and Masha. And they own and run the company. And together, they really just, did a great job of sharing what they wanted to do. And it was one of those rocket ships that I wanted to jump on board. So I left a 30-plus year career in financial services. Now I get to wear sneakers and blue jeans to work and talk to really nice, wealthy people about doing really cool stuff in their backyards. And it's, taken 10 years off my age and probably extended my life by 20.
Yeah, you seem to really like it. What do you like best? So this is a sales show, so I'm just gonna, and this is not an insult. I think it's actually exalting you to heights unimagined before by calling you a salesperson.
You never offend me by calling me a salesman, Dan. You know that.
Okay, good. So, as a a pool salesman type of thing, what's your process when you go to this home? How do you get this thing started? So, because most people, hard to imagine, don't have backyard dreams. I have a backyard. I want to fix my backyard. How do you help them, make this dream?
Sure. Love it. Well, first of all, take a look at the industry as a whole. Okay. And the way that most pool companies operate, and this isn't, casting aspersions on anyone else, but the way most pool companies operate, you want some information, you call a pool company, they send out a commission sales guy. And again, nothing wrong with commission salespeople. I've been one most of my life. But that commission salesperson then becomes your designer. So some do it much better than others, but they'll ask questions. They'll promise you what they call a free design, and they'll come back and give you their idea of what a pool looks like for your backyard. Then they'll try off into hard close on it, collect a very, very large upfront deposit, but they've got no architectural background. They've got no design background. And most importantly, they don't really have the time to properly design something like that. Creates just a huge conflict of interest for the homeowner. So the thing that really kind of excited me the most when I was first talking with Chris was his vision for the pool industry, where we do things differently. And my title is not director of sales. It's not business development. I'm the director of client experience, because we don't sell a product, right? What we sell is an experience to our clients. And it's going to be an experience and a lifestyle for their family, but also along the way, during the construction process, during the design process, and during all of that, it shouldn't feel like a used car deal. These folks are going to spend a lot of money. It should be collaborative. We should solicit their input and then respect what they want to do, from what they want to design to what they want to budget, to kind of putting it all together and then respectfully build it, for them in their home. So the way that we approach it is much like a custom home builder does. And if you've ever bought a home or done a major reservation, what you do is you concentrate on basically three things. And this is how I educate my clients. I would say, hey, Dan, I'm going to be a custom builder and I'm going to build you a home. What's your vision? And you're going to tell me, I want 6 bedrooms. I want 5,000 square feet. I want a 4-car garage. I want a giant chef's kitchen, and anything else that you could dream of, right? We're going to call that scope, and we're going to find alignment on scope. And I'm going to say, yeah, we can do all those things, and we can do them all very, very well. And if there's something I can't do, I can find a partner that can do it for you. The next thing is we're going to talk about schedule, and this is particularly, as Chris said, in the past couple of years, been a sticking point, right? But it's, hey, we'd love to have that by Mother's Day. Well, I'm going to giggle softly, and I'm going to tell them, hey, not Memorial Day, but maybe Labor Day this year, right? Because we've got all this process to do. But if we can find agreement and alignment so that we can meet their expectations and exceed them, we're going to be in good shape. And then the last thing we talk about is budget. And we're not afraid to talk about budget. It's things cost what they cost. And they've got to be reasonable and realistic. And when they give us a budget number, we're going to design towards that budget, but we're going to have that conversation of, here's something really nice that we can do, but here's something maybe a little bit nicer. And in our markets where we're dealing with, luxury custom home builders and homeowners in very, very nice homes, we want to do something in their yard that's commensurate, there's my big word, to their home. So it's got to make sense. It's got to fit the house. And then, like an architect, when we engage with that custom home builder, architects don't work for free. Well, frankly, neither do our designers. So we engage under what we'd call a design agreement. And the design agreement starts with, we come out and we have more discovery. And then we 3D model the house, and then we take the survey and we solicit all those questions, the who's, the what's, the whys, to really, really understand what's the reasoning behind the project. Hey, I want my grandkids to come here, so we're going to do that. Or I love to entertain my clients. Or, hey, maybe this is just a quiet space for me and my spouse to enjoy each other. So understanding those whys is vitally important. Then our designers, not me, I'm not a designer. I can't design much at all, right? But our designers are going to put together, starting with conceptuals, where we explore the space, dimension, size, orientation, all those things, using the topography of the yard to really accent what we're trying to do. What are the other elements and where do we want to put them? And then Chris, who started the company, he's got a degree in architecture from Georgia Tech. So it's about being very intentional. And it's about using architectural principles and taking lines off the home and circulation and program and flow, all those types of things, not just dropping a rectangle or a kidney bean in your backyard and saying, have at it, go swimming. After we find alignment on the conceptual side, we solicit more input from our clients, and then it's design direction. Then we come back with nice 3D models. And then we come back with, fleshing things out more, and then we solicit more input. Then maybe it's design refinement, where we get into materials and we get into the detailed nuance of,
wow,
everything that we do. And that's usually going to take us, about a month. It might be, 3 or 4 meetings. On larger projects, it might be even more and take even longer. But our commitment to our clients is, if you're going to trust us and have confidence in us for us to design, then what we really need to do is provide that communication, provide that expertise, lead the process until we get it absolutely right. So,
and that's even before you put one shovel in the ground.
Well before we put one shovel in the ground. Then once we get exactly what we want, we do these 3D renderings with the fly-throughs so that the clients can see exactly what they're going to have. Then we do the construction drawings. Then it goes into permitting. We ride herd over permitting and make sure that it gets pushed through as quickly as possible. And then once we have a permit in hand, then we sign the construction agreement. So then we've got all the details and everything laid out per the permit, per the construction agreement. And in about 2 weeks, we can get them on the schedule to break ground.
Wow. Do those people come with the pool too?
There's some beautiful people in there.
Yeah.
So you talked about all of that stuff before the shovel gets put in the ground, but we all know that post shovel things change, right?
Yeah.
And so, and usually it doesn't change for the better in terms of the budget for the actual customer. So what's the conversation like as a salesperson when you know that, okay, this was the quote, this is what we're going to try to target in terms of, because this is not these aren't small jobs, right?
Not at all.
And so, you want to give them a quote that feels like it's within their range. But when you start to see that it's going over that range, what's that conversation like?
Absolutely. And when we hit, when we get everything and we get everything fully designed and we sign that construction agreement, that's not an estimate, that's a proposal. So we've already locked down what our equipment's going to be. We've already locked down everything about the project. So we're giving them a hard price at that point. The only things that could change that hard price are surprises, like you're talking about. And there's no such thing as a good surprise in the construction trade. Or it's going to be a change of scope. We're building a pool for you, Chris, and you come back and you say, hey, had a conversation with my spouse and we'd like to enlarge the deck. Or we want to add something, or, we want to change the material. Then we're going to have the conversation about a change order. But it's also about educating the clients, because in our environment, there's really 2 things that I want to talk up front with my clients about and tell them that, here's the contingencies, right? Number one, I never want to tell a client that I'm taking their last dollar. You don't want to be swimming pool poor or outdoor living poor. So if you're stretching to your last nickel to put that project together, we're doing something incorrectly, right? Let's back it up a little bit. Let's design everything today, but maybe we implement some of those things in stages. Maybe we don't add the cabana or the pool house or the fire pit this year. Maybe we do that next year, because we need to have a contingent, because there's 2 things that could happen. One, we live in the Atlanta metro. If we hit Stone Mountain, it's got to come out of the ground. So when we hit, a ton of granite or something like that, and we've done that really once in the last year where we've had significant shipping, the client knew about it ahead of time because we talked about a contingent plan. And then once we find out where everything is, we have an educated conversation, we pivot, we give options, and it's, hey, do we want to move the pool to somewhere where we think we might be able to do it and keep it towards the original budget? Or do we want to chip this out and keep it where you want it to be, but that's going to cost us extra? The other thing is if we hit poor quality soil. If we hit soil that's not going to support a concrete swimming pool, we've got to do some engineering. We've got to install helical pilings, and, that can cost money as well. So if it's, very sandy or it's soil that's just not, oftentimes it'll be built on backfill. Usually we know that, but we don't know kind of what soil compaction is going to be until we really get started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I never even thought of that. Not building so. But I want to take this back just for a second, because I think you would just do a masterful job at selling this product. There's a couple of things that I noticed right out there. First of all, at the beginning, you're just talking about outcomes. You're talking about your dream backyard, your outdoor living and all that. But what was really cool is that when when am I going to get this done? You didn't say 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. You picked the holidays. Yeah. You picked Labor Day, you picked Mother Day, you picked it. And so all of a sudden someone can think, oh yeah, by the 4th of July. So it'll be done by the 4th of July, right? Good. So I'll have the party there, and they're picturing themselves utilizing it already. That's big stuff. People can learn from that. All of a sudden you just brought the emotion into it before we even got to the budget. Now I'm trying to fight to get the budget because I need the 4th of July party. Mm-hmm. Very strong. Well, so let's talk about that budget for a second. Yeah. What does I'm going to ask a question like I imagine the average person would ask. Sure. And so what does an average backyard pool and stuff go for? And I know you're going to say depends. Okay, but okay, yeah.
All right. I've got a couple of great analogies, right? And I can give you some great analogies, but it's funny that you ask that, because there's two questions I get wherever I go. Any cocktail party, any networking event, everybody wants to know, kind of as Chris had alluded to, how long, and then everybody wants to know how much. And obviously prices have increased post-pandemic, but so has the price and the value of your home. So keeping that in mind is really important. Yep. And Keller Williams did a study this past year where in a luxury home, in a higher end home, that what's invested, if it's done properly in the backyard, particularly a swimming pool, concrete swimming pool, designed and installed well, people are currently receiving 100% of that investment in their home value. So when you think about it like that, it is an investment. Now, we're not buying swimming pools and investments. It's to enhance your life. It's to keep your family happy. It's to, it's for the experience. But to understand that if I put that money in my backyard, it's just like if I added an addition, or if I renovated my kitchen, we are not just going to get the experience, but we are going to get the value. Now, our projects, they start at about $100,000. Frankly, I don't know a reputable pool builder that's building a high quality concrete pool in the Atlanta market for anything less. Our costs are no higher than anyone else's. We all use, very similar equipment, very similar, labor costs and very similar margins. So we're where everyone else is on the higher in the luxury marketplace, but it's when you start getting into trying to work on a budget basis, our clients want quality, they want value. A swimming pool, and I don't want to put myself out of business, but it's not a necessity. You need a roof, you need a car, you need transportation. You don't necessarily need a pool. It's a very nice thing to have. It's a great luxury item. It's a great lifestyle item. So, we're unapologetic about, our projects, and we're unapologetic about our project costs.
Well, I mean, it truly is an addition. Look at all the extra living space you have out there.
Absolutely. And that's a big, a big emphasis of ours. And I think something, without being, arrogant, I think it's something that we do better than anyone else, in the metro area. I would say it's connecting. It's connecting your indoors to your outdoors. We often talk about the LA lifestyle, the Miami lifestyle. And that's, I think, what people want in today's modern market. Traditionally, Atlanta is a very traditional city, red brick house. The pool is an afterthought. We put a destination pool in the backyard. It was a 32 by 16 kidney bean wrapped in flagstone. And people would walk down to the pool, and it would be in the flattest portion of the lawn, wherever that was. But we've got the ability to engineer, to create something that ties the inside to the outside. And if you look at today's modern homes and what some of our amazing building partners are doing, and what some of the builders in Atlanta are doing, is just phenomenal. But connecting the indoors to the outdoors so that it is seamless. And, with the weather that we're blessed with, we can have, just a tremendous extension of our living area. And we create outdoor gathering spaces and outdoor rooms by doing that.
Yeah, no, it is a big thing. What's the kind of craziest thing? You said they start at 100. What's your biggest deal, and what was nuts about it? Give us a story.
Yeah, we've got, and it's a project that we're underway on right now. And it's actually out in the Beaufort area. And it's a 2-acre home, already built home that the family wants to just do everything. So it's starting at the street, and it's starting with the front gate and the driveway and the motor court. And it's going around into the backyard, and it's going to be centerpieced with a very, very large swimming pool with a tremendous amount of stonework and a huge grotto and a basketball court and a greenhouse and a family apartment, and just a number of different things. But that project's going to tap out over $1 million, and it's just a whole lot of fun because it's the entire design. Everything is holistic there, and it's not just doing a small piece, but it's putting it all together and realizing the client's vision, and then showing them some stretch items. Some of the things that you just showed, some of those designs that you just showed are really kind of cool. And when a client gives you that trust to come out and say, yeah, here's my budget, but if you show me something I really like, you know what, we're going to do it. And we're very, very fortunate that we've got some amazing clients that tell us that from time to time. Now, not all of our clients are athletes and entertainers, although some are, are business owners and people like that. But, they trust us to really, really maximize, what they can do with their budget, and really just, give them a dynamic, living space for their family.
Wow, that's cool. So you're dealing, how do these people find you?
Yeah, great question. I would say that our business is probably made up of 2 major markets, right? One is our largest market is direct homeowners. So, I'm sure you guys will be kind enough to show our social media at some point. We do a lot of social media marketing, but 70% of our business comes from referral. And it's really a way that we've decided to build our business. So, Dan, if I come to your home and I build a dynamite swimming pool, right? And you invite Chris over. And when Chris comes over, he says, wow, Dan, this backyard's amazing, right? The fire pit and the pool house and all these wonderful things that you have. Who did that? You're going to beat your chest because I'm your guy, right? And you're going to say, you got to meet my guy, Bart over at Cosmic. They're just fantastic. You got to get in touch with them. So that's where we get a lot of our stuff from, right? It's through that referral network of existing clients and people that we've done wonderful things for. Our second market is builders. We really put a press this past 12 months on working more in the custom builder marketplace. And, there's homes all over the Atlanta metro area, that are, in the multi-million-dollar range that we're doing projects on, and educating and speaking with these builders that let's do a little bit more for your homeowners when you're building a $2 or $3 million home, or a $6 or an $8 million home. We're in conversation right now with a really, really high-end builder about helping them with a 40,000 square foot home in Buckhead. That's just going to be an amazing backyard.
So that the 40,000, that's the home. That's not the yard.
That's just the home. That's not the yard. Yeah.
So when you're doing that stuff, like you did with that other one, with the go around the house and the gate and all that stuff, and then the guest house and all that, you're doing that with partners, I imagine. You're not a construction company, or are you doing that with your own people?
Well, there's certain things that are within our scope, and then there's certain things that are or outside of our scope. So we are not a general contractor or a specialty trade. So things like building the structure we do with partners. It's just in order to pull the permits and in order to have that done, it's not something. So we do partner with general contractors, quite often on on a lot of our projects. Anything that's going to have a structure with a roof, anything that's going to have those types of things, we absolutely do partner with some amazing builders.
Yeah, that's not something to be peevish about. That's fine. No. Let's go. That's a perfect. In fact, it's a great way to grow business and get referrals in the whole shebang. So, correct. I mean, it's every business, every company should do that same thing. You find similar people who are selling different products to the same client, and create that partnership arrangement. It's better for everyone.
I want to meet everybody that plays in my sandbox. I want to meet everybody that plays in my sandbox, whether it's yesterday I had a meeting with a home automation company. Yesterday I had a meeting with a custom builder. All these folks that I can, do the back and forth, a real estate photographer. So anybody that, and I don't necessarily need them to send me business today to help their business, as long as they're going to help my client and I can have confidence that they're going to help my client, then that's going to build my client's confidence in what we do. And that's going to enhance their experience. And that's just going to make us more referable.
Yeah. Let me ask you, who actually builds your sandbox? Like, let's say somebody wanted a sandbox. Do you sub that out too? Or do you?
Dan, do you want a sandbox?
Okay, yeah. Who doesn't want a sandbox? By the way, true. You know who you need to use? Every once in a while, your people have junk removal problems. They need to call my son for junk generals. Oh, there's his name right there.
There you go.
So make sure.
Free
so there's your guy. Yeah, there's your guy.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. we could use him on some demo from time to time, I'm sure.
Yes, he's your man. We got to hook him up.
Absolutely.
What is so what's going on with you personally? You're recently merged, isn't that correct?
Yes, I am. Recently very happily married. Amazing young lady. Jenny's just fantastic. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. She's fun to be with. You'll meet her one day, I'm certain. And we got married in November and grew my family. Her daughter Sam joins my three, Maddie, Cameron, and Brian. And just excited about all of it.
So now you got 4 now.
Thank you. Yeah, 4 now, 25 all the way down to 10.
Well, which one do you like best?
Oh, I can't say that.
Well, that's cool. So I know you're Bart, you're from New Jersey because you talk like me. What brought you down here?
Great story. I was doing well up there. I was in the insurance and investment business. I was a certified financial planner. I had a really good, thriving practice. But I woke up one morning and you know what it's like up there. And that was 10 miles outside of Manhattan, in Montclair, New Jersey, which, love the town, but it's a struggle every day. And I thought if I was going to, raise a family and grow a business, the quality of life piece of it became, a little bit more important to me than the money for the struggle. Okay. So I was having a conversation with a client of mine, and he was in the city. And, as it often happens, you're talking to people and, they've got a sales team and very complimentary. They say, hey, you should come work for us. And I kind of laughed and I said, thank you very much. As a young guy, I said, but, reality is I'm not moving from the frying pan into the fire. I'm not going from New Jersey into Manhattan every day. I'll go in when I have to, but not every day. I said, but, what I'm really looking to do is escape and, get somewhere else, get further south maybe. And, he took a shine to me. And very, very fortunately, I got a call back in about a week later. And he said, hey, would you ever think about going to Atlanta? I've got a colleague down there who's looking to build a sales team in corporate finance. And I think you'd be great at it. Is that something you'd consider? And then I met Gary Scanlon with a group out of ABN AMRO. And they brought me down to Atlanta in 1995 and haven't looked back.
That's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. So why do you think that is? I mean, you're like a natural salesperson and just like, you get offers like that and opportunities like that. I'm sure you've got your whole life. What do you ascribe that to? Why is it? Why do you think? What characteristic do you think is so attractive for other people that you've been able to do this?
Yeah, I really think it's about my intention for building relationships, right? It's about finding out the whys. It's about having conversations with people as real people, being authentic, being genuine. I don't go to see my clients to sell them something. I mean, I joke with everybody. I'll open my backpack and I'll say, hey, this is the first meeting. There's not a pool in here I'm trying to sell you. I want to disarm them and just say, hey, we're here to have a conversation. We're just folks.
Yeah.
So once we start talking as, just as, neighbors, right? As regular folks, and I'm there to answer any questions, and I'm there to, just kind of communicate. So once you build that relationship with someone, and it's actually authentic, I think people appreciate that. And it's not about the me, it's about the we, right? It's about how can I help you? And it's like what you do, Dan. When you're talking to somebody, you're thinking, how can I help their business? How can I help their team? How can I help that individual, just go out there and slay it every day. And when I'm talking with my clients, that's what I want to do. I want to build that real relationship.
Yeah.
Bart, do you have a pool yourself?
I do not. Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
Don't tell anybody. No, we actually live basically on the side of a cliff. So it's we affectionately call it a tree house. And the backyard from the main level is about 3.5 stories off the ground.
Oh,
and
wow.
from the terrace level, it's a full 2 stories off the ground. So we
Wow.
have no backyard really to speak of.
You need a rock climbing wall on the back of your house. You can put those things in.
Yeah, how much would that run you?
Yeah, no kidding. And we're thinking about a zip line or, maybe a fire pole or something like that for fun.
Yeah, the bat pole. Remember the bat pole? That was the coolest thing. Everybody wanted the bat pole. God, you open the guy's head. That's how the switch was in that little model, and you pulled his head back like a big Pez container. By the way, Pez was another thing too. They still have Pez, or it comes out of your neck. Yeah. But so here's the thing that I noticed, that this is so true about your company. You're talking about, you really are not just you build that experience in yards. The name of your company, is it really Cosmic Design Studio?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was very intentional as well. The idea was, we don't want to be, most people they get like a Yahtzee shaker, and it's got blue, it's got beach, it's got tropical, and then they pour it out of the table, put a couple of words together, and there's your pool company. When Chris and Masha were thinking about putting something together, they wanted it to be intriguing. They wanted it to be different. And the reality is that we are really a design first company, and then an execution and construction company. So the emphasis on the design as a studio, we've got 4 full-time designers with either incredible design pedigrees or architectural backgrounds, and incredibly talented team that can do some really, really amazing things. So we really emphasize that, and it also starts a lot of conversations. If I'm at an event, or if I'm talking to somebody and they see a name tag that says Cosmic Design Studio, what in the world is that? Yeah. And then I get to tell the story.
So what do you tell? Let's say that's a good thing. Yeah. So what do you do? Cosmic Design Studio. What is that? What do you guys do?
You've heard my elevator, probably 100 times by now, but we're a custom design and build luxury swimming pool and outdoor living firm. And we work with our clients, using a very iterative process to build amazing things in their backyards.
Isn't that great? See, there's a man who knows his elevator pitch right there. It's exactly what he does. And so people start. And so the first question, how does somebody get started with you? Let's say, listen, we're really on the front end of this. We're just kind of tiptoeing into it. Where do I start?
Yeah, it always starts with a conversation, right? And for me, it's initially a telephone conversation just to make sure that you're real, right? And I always want to pre-qualify the people that I'm going to go talk to, because our time is very valuable. But I'm also very, very cognizant never to prejudge, right? I don't ever want to prejudge anyone, because we've always had surprises. Somebody you thought had a ton of money that doesn't, and sometimes somebody that you you thought maybe wasn't going to be, a real prospect that's just surprised the heck out of you. So I always come at it from a pre-qualify, never prejudge, but we talk a little bit about scope, schedule, and budget. Are you looking for what we do? Do we have a reasonable timeline to work with? And do we have somewhat of a reasonable budget? And that's it. I mean, beyond that, as long as we can find some type of alignment there, I want to come out and meet you. I want to come out and I want to meet you. I want to meet whoever the other decision makers are. And I want to see your vision. I want you to tell me about it directly and, kind of what you're looking for and all those whys. I want this to be the house because I've got a 10-year-old daughter and I want her friends at my house and not at somebody else's. Or, we went on vacation, had the time of our life, and now we want to put that oasis in our backyard. Whatever it is that makes it tick is what we want to do for our clients. But I want them to tell me that. And that's really where the relationship starts. And we're patient. We plan on being in business for a while. So we're not going to, your timing is your timing. If you're going to build it next year, that's okay. But I can still become your guy today and be available for questions and consultations and all that kind of stuff along the way. Again, it's about being a good neighbor sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you could just get the design done and then just keep that and ready when you are.
And it's good confidence too. Yeah. And I think a lot of people now, if they're looking for a product, and there's a lot of people that are tons of people may be selling the same sort of product, but what you're doing is a lot of customization. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a customer can go online and just find the same thing sold by you and 100 other people. There's a lot of customization in there. So that conversation is key. They gotta trust you, and you're probably going to get, people contacting you more before they're even able to research stuff online. It's not like they're buying a microphone where they can research the price, they can research, 1,000 other microphones that can do the same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. This is specialized. It's very, very customizable. One other thing, Dan, that I wanted to highlight here on the site. Look at this quote from Frank Lloyd Wright that's on their website. This is money. Not all my friends are my clients, but all my clients are my friends. That's money.
That's pretty powerful. And it's true. We spend a lot of time with our clients. If we're building pool for you, or if we're doing an outdoor living project for you, because we do more than pools and not every one of our projects has a pool. But when we do those types of things, we do. We also really appreciate and respect the trust that our clients give us. We don't take that trust. We don't take that confidence lightly. A project that's the scope of what we do is a very large undertaking. It's a significant investment in money. It's also a significant investment in their time, and they're trusting us with, doing something that's really going to affect their home and their family. So, we spend an awful lot of time with our clients, and, we want to keep that communication open at all times. Most of our clients are going to, you said surprises earlier. Surprises aren't great, but if we can address them and, figure them out and then move forward, we're going to have success.
I have two things. One is, do kids ever get involved? Like, I can imagine the kid just around the table say, "Oh, I want this here." Do you involve everybody?
We try to, and we don't want it to become, too many cooks in the kitchen, right? And the kids usually don't have control over the checkbook, but we do want to find out, hey, how old are your kids? What do your kids like to do? Are there any issues with accessibility or special needs? Is there any sports that they're really, really involved in? Is there something that's going to make them incredibly happy? And some of our clients are, really directing us that way. And when that's the case, we do want to solicit that input. And, we had a client last year that we did an amazing design and they hadn't told their kids yet. But on Christmas morning, they played their fly-through video. And that was the big family Christmas present. Yeah. And it was a great surprise to the children that here's what we're going to do in the backyard. And it was their yard. It was their home. And it was the pool that we were putting in, or we were going to put in. And it was that photorealistic 3D rendering with the fly-throughs, which, really blew everybody away.
Mm. Yeah.
And did you put that pool in?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And does it really look like that? Like the fly-through?
100%. Yeah, it really
Really?
does. It
Without
really
the
does.
people, Dan. Without,
Yeah, well, the people can be different sizes and shapes, so it's, but the other thing really, Dan, that does though, is it takes away a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the apprehension, right? You think about it, if you're doing a major remodel, if you're doing a project of this nature, a lot of times the guy's got it sketched out in 2D on a yellow pad, or, heck, sometimes even a cocktail napkin, and you really have no idea what it's going to look like. But if we can show you, using some pretty slick, you've seen some of our renderings, some of our pretty slick, 3D animation, exactly what it's going to look like, you can at the end of the project, you can put it up against each other and make sure that we hit the mark. And if we don't, you're able to call us out on it.
That's money. So how long, let's say I met with you today and we did the whole go ahead. How soon is it just on average, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months?
Absolutely. And we'll do the math together, right? Because it's going to take both of us, public school guys out of New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
But if it takes us a month to really run the design process, whatever, 3 or 4 weeks of the robust design process, then it goes, we do a little site engineering and some construction drawings. Then it goes into permitting, which is kind of the bigger unknown. And if we're outside of the city, we might be able to turn a permit around in a couple of days or a week. If we're in certain jurisdictions, it might take us a number of months. But we usually call that, depending upon where we're at, if we're inside the perimeter, 2 months, 3 months. If we need a variance, and we'll know that up front, through our due diligence process, it's going to take longer. If we're in the historic district and we've got to run through, some other hurdles, it could take a little longer. But all that's just process, right? It's about providing the municipality with great drawings. It's about answering questions as soon as they get back to us. And things are getting better there. So if we call it, maybe a month for design, maybe 2, maybe 3 months, depending upon where we're at, or less, depending upon jurisdiction for permitting. And then we're going to break around 2 weeks from permitting. And then I can tell you, hey, we're doing something pretty straightforward. We should be out in 8 to 10 weeks. It gives you a real good idea as to where you're at. So with that, I'd say if anybody wants to be swimming this summer, we should be talking yesterday.
Well, I'm sure they'll want to do that. Well, that's awesome. You speak towards the end here. You speak kind of glowingly about the owners of this company. Real quickly, how did you meet them? What's that story?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a long and illustrious rugby career. I got the gray hair now, but played with Atlanta for a number of years, played New Jersey for a number of years. And Chris Carter played with us as well. Now, Chris is younger than I am, so we kind of had some overlap years, but not many of them, because I was raising my kids and coaching and doing other stuff as my rugby on-field career came to an end. But we also spent some time serving on some boards and some charity things through the club and through the Atlanta Rugby Foundation. And I kind of always knew Chris and was always impressed with his work ethic. And again, one of the smartest guys I know. So when we reconnected and, he started talking about Cosmic, it was just an intriguing story. And his wife, Masha, very, very bright, very, very driven as well. So when the three of us sat down, I said, these are the folks that, I really want to align myself with and work with to build a business and to build a brand.
That's awesome. Chris Stone, you had a illustrious rugby career too, didn't you?
In my dreams,
yes,
I did. No, rugby players, they're wired differently than the rest of humanity. There's just something about, like, whenever I watch a rugby match, I'm thinking to myself, geez, there's no way I would do that.
It's good, clean family fun.
I'm sure it is.
And then the after effects too, the party afterwards, the drinking afterwards is legendary.
But it's a lot of fun too.
Yes. Well,
so I'm curious. This is a sales.
We'll share a story off camera one day.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So this is a sales show. Although we do have fun, and I love the personal stuff. But so I'm curious, like, when you're in the process of selling somebody on this, and it's a husband and a wife, how much are you focusing more on the wife than you are the husband in terms of, like, putting together, the plans and what they want, because we all know, right? It's sort of like happy wife, happy life kind of thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm just always curious in that whole process. You talked about the kids, obviously. For us, when we had our pool put in and we were working with the company that we used, knowing the age of our kids, we're like, we don't want a diving board. That's kind of like, that's not the vibe of what we've got going on. We've got a lot of rock. And so they were like, well, what if we put a little ledge here next to your spa where they can jump off of these rocks? So like they're cliff diving right into the pool kind of thing. I was like, what a great idea. That was cool. We incorporated more of a Michigan kind of vibe in our backyard because that's where we're originally from. So how does that whole process work when you're sort of sculpting that sales pitch, when no one's really signed yet and you're wanting to work with the children and the wife and the husband and that whole dynamic?
Yeah, again, great question. And it's going to be different in every situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But through having those conversations and really asking the right questions, you're going to find out who wants the pool and who's driving the process.
Yeah.
And then you're going to find out who's driving the decision making. And sometimes it is 50-50, but kind of as you alluded, a lot of times it's, maybe it's 70-30. And, it's not always the husband who gets to make that final decision. Right. And we've done projects where I've never met the husband, and that's just fine. We want as much input as we can get, but if either spouse, is driving that, and Atlanta's a pretty progressive city. There's a ton of wealth in here that comes in all shapes, sizes, genders, everything that's out there. And again, we love to work with everybody. We're pretty agnostic as far as that goes. And,
sure.
Again, trying not to judge anybody, and our clients are fantastic.
That's just good business.
Yeah.
It's how to do it right. Again, you're providing the value, you're providing the outcomes, and well, actually, let me ask you this: do you stay in touch with your people? I mean, you're putting something on their house. Do you stay? I know you get referrals from them, but you stay in touch after. Have you become friendly with any of your clients? Have you done their children's homes? Have you been passed around?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, right now we're working on a couple of houses on one street down in Morningside. And literally we've got a house and then the neighbor directly across the street. And we're in permitting on one that's 2 doors down. So it's nice to be able to see, and it, obviously creates some efficiency, which is even better, but it's cool to have a little pocket like that. We just signed somebody in Buckhead just this week where we're doing 2 projects next door to each other for a custom home builder and 2 beautiful modern homes. And about 2 blocks away, a young family bought an equally nice modern home, and they were out walking the kids and walking the dog, and they saw our signage. And they said, hey, picked up the phone and they called us. They said, these houses look like our house. And, the pictures of the pools that we had outside, because they were spec homes and we were doing some co-branding, with the builder. They're like, those look different than what everybody else is doing. And, I honestly think we do modern and contemporary, better than anybody in the city.
Look at that. So there's your little in there.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think I guess the challenge is what happens when you get too busy? Are you able to handle? How many jobs you got working now?
Great question. And really, that's our emphasis for 2024. We had a huge amount of growth in the last probably 18 months. Went from in the 2 million area to into up to the 10 million area of sales. Now, obviously, construction lags sales because of the time for permitting and the time for design and for all that. But we've hired, additional manpower, and we've got additional teams where we've really, increased our labor force, which has been something we've wanted to do. And this year, one of our major concentrations, while yes, we want to grow smart. And what we really want to do is improve internally processes and, kind of making sure that we have the ability to deliver everything we promise. Because I think the worst mistake you can have is eroding the confidence that somebody puts in you by making promises that you can't keep. And your reputation is, it's golden, it's paramount. So once you lose your reputation, you can't ever get it back. So making sure that we can deliver is always, always on top of our mind.
Well, I think you're hitting all the nails on the head. You're placing all the stone around the pool. You're just hitting it right. It's so exciting to see this. Listen, I gotta, I know what you guys are wondering. How is it possible that someone's brain can move as quickly as mine? How can I make these connections?
Quickly was where I was going, but
you were. By the way, Chris Stone, Bart Schwartz, you need to know this about Chris Stone and all Michiganders. Not different than people from New Jersey who speak disparagingly about the place from which we come. People in Michigan love the place. Yeah. This guy brought Michigan to his backyard around his pool. People in Michigan, they love it.
Yeah, they
love it and go back. I talked to 2 people from Michigan today. It's crazy. You can't understand this from New Jersey. New Jersey's that crazy place. I tell Chris, up yours is a greeting. I mean, you go. People just yell at you all the time, but you are the exception to the rule. I'm telling you, I don't know that I've met a nicer man in all of Atlanta than Bart Schwartz here when he came down here from New Jersey. I think you're awesome. And I wish nothing but good things to happen to you forever.
Well,
and what you're doing with this company is marvelous. And we need to get together afterwards. I got people we need to talk to about those efficiencies and stuff and getting this to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's get together.
100%.
Chris Stone, unbelievable. Is he not awesome, Bart Stone?
Stop.
I mean, the way
you called him Bart Stone, by the way.
Did I say Bart Stone?
Yeah, but I mean, may the Schwartz be with you. Come on.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you coming today, and you are Bart, a wonderful example of a finance guy, a pool guy, a salesperson, and just a husband and father. I think you're terrific.
And the last two mean the most to me.
A husband and father?
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah, without that. That's right. Well, that's too long to get all that mushy. Chris Stone, you know who's better than you? No one.
Nobody.
And I appreciate everybody sticking around. Stick around for a second when you finish here, Bart. And for all of you out there still watching, I wish nothing but good things to happen to you all as well. Eat well, live long, and prosper. Let's go get them today. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.